This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Now, you guys know how much I love Squarespace. They make it so easy for you to create your own website. I've seen tons that you guys have done, and they're fabulous. Now, listen, if you want to get started with a free trial, go to squarespace.com with no credit card required. And when you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with offer code RU. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU.
What do you want? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea? What's the tea? You tell me what's the tea?
RuPaul, What's the Tea with Michelle Visage.
Hola. Hi, kitty girl.
Hey, kitty girl.
Meow, meow.
Now, we want to talk about amazing breakthroughs. You've heard of amazing discoveries?
Yeah, and That's Amazing?
Yes.
Was that what it was called?
It was called That's Amazing. That's right.
That's
yes.
the dumbest with Fran Tarkenton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we want to talk about amazing breakthroughs. We've all had them. Some of the younger people may not have had them. I've certainly had them in my life on a professional level and on an emotional level.
Well,
just breakthroughs.
breaking my hymen was an amazing breakthrough.
You know what? I read about it when I was a child in junior high school. We read all about it. Mm-hmm. Did it hurt?
It hurt like a bitch, but it
But
was an
worth
amazing
it.
breakthrough.
It was an amazing breakthrough.
Absolutely. One you can never turn the time on.
No,
either.
but some do. Some do.
Well, I'm not going to get any vaginal mesh. What's done is done.
Yeah, what's done is done.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to touch on your career too. We've talked about it this a little bit too, because I've always described you as someone who always lands on her feet. You are a hustler.
Or her back.
You are a hustler. This girl, I tell you the story, I knew her from the New York downtown days, and then she hit it big in the group Seduction, and I'd see her at the radio, I'd see her in the club. And then I saw you at that radio gig when you were in Soul Solution for the Bodyguards. Soul System,
and
yeah.
you had Supermodel.
Yeah.
So it was 92.
92, yep.
Is that right?
Somewhere like that.
93, 92. And then, it was at the New York Music Expo or whatever it was.
Whatever.
Some hotel.
And this girl just reinvents herself. Whatever the client needs.
That's it.
And then walked into the radio station at KTU, and there she is sitting behind the mic.
And what Rue said was, okay, in 92 when we had the records out, we were sharing a green room in the hotel room. And I was in there, whatever, getting ready to go on. And Rue walks in, I go, I don't know if you remember me. And Rue goes, bitch, I've been watching your little blonde ass bop around for years. I always knew you were the star. You were the star of that group. I would watch you. And I was like, oh my God, you remember me? Because it was from the clubs, and Rue had drinks and things, and I had children's and things.
Right.
Meaning I had my little gay boys that we were voguing, and we were on different sides of the club.
Yeah.
So that was in 92. Then 96 came when the radio people put us together. I was there first at the meeting, and then Rue walks in, and Rue looks at me and goes, of course it's you that's sitting here.
Yes.
Of course it's you.
Yeah, because you had been in all these. I'd seen you as the Vogue, as the voguing child.
Well, from the Suzanne Barge parties.
Suzanne Barge parties. Then I'd seen you in a girl group, Seduction, all over the television. Blah blah blah. Then the next incarnation was in this other group. This sort of was like Sly and the Family Stone.
It was like Michelle and the Pips.
Yeah,
it was wrong. It was just wrong.
But you had that huge hit from the Bodyguard soundtrack.
Track 9.
And then...
Stop relying on that Bodyguard soundtrack.
Well, And then on and on and on. Then a radio. It just goes on and on. And here we are still today. And these kind of breakthroughs of discovering what you can do and how to transform yourself into what the situation calls for, we take it for granted. It comes easy to both of us.
Because we have to do it. What else are we going to do?
Yeah, but just saying that is not...
No, but this is what we were put here to do.
But do you understand that it's not a simple feat? Now, it comes easy to you, Michelle. But we would pose this to someone else, and they would go, "But how?
Uh-huh.
But how?
Okay,
but
all right.
what do I do?"
Fair enough.
So, what does someone do? I'll ask you. When you were put in front of a microphone to be a radio personality,
right?
How did you know to speak in a way that the audience could understand what you were talking about?
I just knew. And that sounds awful and it gives you no help. But it's the same way you always knew that you were destined for one thing in life. It's the same thing I always knew I was destined for. I also knew that I was a great talker from the beginning. Even when I was young, I had boyfriends and friends tell me, you have such a great voice on the phone, you should do something. I'm like, what, be a sex worker? Because there was nothing else to do on the phones back then.
Right.
So I automatically became a radio kid and would listen to WABC and write the songs down. And, I was a radio geek of sorts. I would wait for the, on 95.5 PLJ when it first started, I'd wait for the joke of the day. And I was really into radio, not knowing that what I was a radio geek. So then when the radio station happened, I had at that point a moment of, they haven't hired anybody. I have got to hustle. Now I'm going to hustle and I'm going to find a way in. And that's what I did. So for me, I always knew that it was within me. That's my gift. I have the gift of gab.
Well, so now we're talking about breakthroughs. Now, of course, if you always knew you had the ability to not only hustle to get a job, but also become a radio personality, but where in your career did you surprise yourself? Where did you have a career breakthrough? And we'll get to emotional breakthroughs later, but where did you have a career breakthrough where you thought, wow, I didn't know I could do that, or I couldn't do that before, but now I can?
I think it's always been that way for me because even though I knew I could do it, you always have to prove it, don't you? Like, for Seduction, they already had a girl in the group, a white girl, because it was an interracial girl group. They had a white girl.
Who was it?
Never knew to this day. But Idalis, the Puerto Rican in the group, who happened to be my best friend at the time, said they already have a white girl. But I called up and I said, but you don't have me. So let me sing. And if the other girl wins, then more power to her. But in these Hunger Games, I want to go in and have a chance. So I went in and I sang Tina Marie, and I won.
Lady
so
T.
That's it. I won. I got the gig because I just happened to be better. And I knew I'm always the type of girl that pushes it just to go, look, trust me, if I'm not good, don't give me the chance.
Right.
But if I get a chance to do it, I'm going to get it. Yeah. I will own that room.
Now, what about television? Now, had you done television before you did the RuPaul show on VH1?
I hadn't.
Well, you had been on.
Well, news and stuff where they talk about when voguing started out before Madonna did her song. Voguing was becoming really hot and was making the news. So I'd done segments, but I'd done tons and tons of theater. So that was my life. I mean, I grew up in the theater, darling. In
the theater, darling.
Yes.
I did too, but it was the Gaiety Theater.
It's a little different.
Yes, a little different.
No knee pads involved.
No. So when you did the VH1 show, you were my sidekick, not psychic.
Which everybody used to come up and say, Rue, I love your sidekick. She go, what? Who? Sidekick.
Sidekick.
I was the Ed McMahon to your Johnny Carson.
Exactly.
The Rhoda to your Mary.
Exactly. And so was that a breakthrough for you? Did you know you could do that?
I think the big breakthrough for me in that situation was when VH1 said, oh, you're good. We want to use you as our red carpet correspondent. That was like me going, I told you I can do it. Give me the chance. Yeah. Stop putting me in this hole. Let me go to, let me try this one. I can do anything if you give me the opportunity. And a lot of time for a lot of kids out feel the same way out there. It's just luck. I was lucky that you saw the talent in me, that you said to me, girl, you make me look better. I'm bringing you with me.
Yeah.
And that's luck. That's luck. We were in the right place at the right time. Our destinies have always brought us together. We've always been meant to be together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Bashir. But what is luck? What is luck? Because we call it luck, but luck is, we were talking to Jessica Alba last week, and here's someone who has had a storied career, just really amazing. She has this product called Honest. She's got these.
She started on her own.
Started on her
it's
own.
Like natural baby care. It started with.
Yeah.
It's moved on to household cleaners, to soaps, to lotions. I mean, it's just getting bigger and bigger.
And it's in Costco. It's in Target. It's in Nordstrom.
Yeah.
It's in all these outlets that are the holy grail of retail, and that's no easy feat.
No.
That is amazing. But she's had that kind of career for 20 years where, and some would say she's lucky, but I venture to say that luck is a combination of the soul, someone's soul that has figured out or cleared away a path for abundance or for a frequency to go through them and to work in tandem.
That's a way you can look at it, meaning I'm not going to take anything away from that because that's all true. Part of me says, but really luck sometimes is just being at the right place at the right time.
Right.
And that's a possibility too, but it could be all that stuff aligning to bring you to where that brought me to that room for us to meet and be radio partners and to blossom our friendship into something what it is today.
I'll never forget, I'm old, so, I'll never forget this one time, Jacqueline Smith, they had hit it big with Charlie's Angels, and she was doing an interview, and she said, your big break actually happens many, many times in your life, but you're not prepared for it. And so when the big break happens, it somehow all the stars align and it's happened. But I that stuck with me, is the idea that there's always opportunities and angels around you at all time there to help you. But a lot of times people are blocked. And we've even seen this with friends, close friends who we came up with who are so talented but couldn't make that thing happen.
Or even with ourselves in the sense that, and I'll use you and I as an example since we're the ones who are here. For me, I always say, I almost get to where I want to be and then it stops. With Seduction, we got really huge, but we didn't take it to the top. With Soul System, the album was never delivered. It stopped. VH1, everything fell apart. We stopped. Like radio, it's everything happens. It almost gets to where I break through to that superstardom that I see myself as, but it stops. Maybe that, and for you, you had the record, it stopped. The radio, it stopped. Like it's a roller coaster. It's not consistent. Like we're not making Kardashian money.
No.
But we consistently have been working for all these years.
Did you say consistently?
Consistently. Have been working for all these years. I tried to not say it consistently. So I tried to stop myself and say consistently because I'm so used to saying it the other way. So I tried to say consistently. Did it work? Did I fool anybody? I certainly didn't fool you.
No.
Okay. So what I'm saying...
But I don't think of those as, those...
They're not failures.
They're not failures. They played the way they were supposed to play. And it brought me to this moment right here. And
but do you think that's what Jacqueline Smith is talking about?
I think that when she hit with Charlie's Angels, she was saying that, there were many big breaks that could have turned into something much bigger. But you have to be prepared when they happen.
Right.
A lot of people are not prepared, or they're not prepared to let go of their old identity that will allow them to move forward. I love the story of a missile, a rocket that needs a fuselage to propel it into the space atmosphere or whatever.
Fuselage, it's a big word.
Yeah. And then once it gets into space, or that stuff out there, where the stars are.
Space junk.
Yeah. The fuselage breaks off because it doesn't need that anymore. And that's the thing of old identities. We talked about this last week too, where we're talking about, being able to leave your old identity behind so you can be reborn into your new self. We see it on RuPaul's Drag Race with the queens.
I have to tell you, it's the most rewarding moment because people keep some shady bitches out there would be like, let me act like Michelle Visage. I need more. Give me more. But here's the thing. We do need more for us to see who you are. And I'm going to push every season. I don't care if it's repetitive. I'm going to say the same thing until they give us what we need. And what we need, look, if you give it to us, we're not going to ask for it. Right. But what we need is to see who you are. And whether you're a drag queen or just a regular old person working at the C-Town, we need to know who you are underneath what you're doing.
You give us a reason to fall in love with you.
Yes,
absolutely.
We need to see that.
All the faults and all of the vulnerability, all of the insecurity, everything. Give it to us.
We love all of it. Yep.
Because that is how you fall in love with a character. That's how you fall in love with another person.
How you're humanized. Otherwise, you're just this two-dimensional character that we don't love.
Well, a lot of the queens come on the show and they think they're going to produce themselves and produce how the audience will see them, which always backfires.
100% of the time.
It always backfires.
Yes.
And it doesn't, it's all canned. If every emotion is canned and every strategic move is...
We could predict it.
It's...
Absolutely true. And you'll see... these queens, like you can see them, watch their faces. You could see them going, oh, I ain't going to be that bitch. But what you're doing, trying not to be that bitch in air quotes, is taking away from who you really are. Right. You can't come on the show and produce yourself. You just cannot do it. You have to be you. Let the producers tell you.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They were brought onto the show because of a unique quality. You know, when I watched those auditions.
That you saw.
That I saw. When I watched the auditions, so many queens put on a performance that they think I want from them. And it's completely boring because it's completely bland and it's not even real. It doesn't come from a real place. But when one person does something that's uniquely themselves, I take notice. I go, and this is having watched tons of auditions.
I can imagine.
Somebody does something unique and you go, oh, what's that? Who's that? What's that? You know, and then and I fight for them to get on the show.
And yes, it still excites you.
It still excites me because I want to get to know that. You know,
and then they come on. And they're nothing like what they presented on the tape.
Well, sometimes they are, but most times people get scared. That, you know, like when you tell someone, I'm going to record you saying this, and then they say it. Like you hear somebody say something, you go, oh, let me record that.
And then it comes out all wrong.
It comes out completely different. It's like, oh my goodness, just be yourself.
It's
be
hard.
yourself.
It's hard. People are so, I don't want to use the word ashamed, but people, I think that they're not good enough.
Well, they're guarded. They feel they're not good enough.
Right.
You know, that's what I've been obsessed with the TV show Scandal and watching these actors allow the audience to see all of those crunchy bits, all of those vulnerable bits, and take after take. I mean, they are on this set all day long acting, and it's amazing how far they allow themselves to go.
And that's the thing
training.
with actors that people don't understand, and for me it's a challenge too. Whenever I am called to do a scene or act, I always want to put on this theater thing that I have. Right. When really, especially for television film, it's about taking away. Mm-hmm. The thing about acting is taking away. Acting is reacting. Bottom line, it's being able to see and hear what your other person is saying so you can really truthfully react. Yeah. And we keep putting on and putting on and putting on when really what we should be doing is taking away, taking away, taking away.
Well, it's interesting because, I've talked about this here also about when my big breakthrough happened in show business. I had been working in downtown New York in clubs and hostessing and go-go dancing and all that stuff. And I finally decided it's my turn. So I wanted to do this sort of androgyny Boy George, David Bowie kind of thing,
Which you did for years.
Which I had done before, all that before, and thought, well, I have to go back to where I left off before the drag took over everything. Well, I went out on the road. And
was drag on your radar?
Well, I was doing drag.
No, that Glamazon drag. Was it on your radar yet, or you were just doing
No,
the
it wasn't.
drag?
No, it wasn't. I was doing my street hooker drag, which was, by the way, so much fun.
And by the way, what I remember the most about you, thinking back on how long I've known you, what I remember the most is Bianca Cupcake Dink.
Yes. Oh my God, the trouble I got into, and so much fun. It was so much fun.
I saw you in the Meatpacking District, girl.
Yeah. And so then I went out on the road doing my sort of androgyny thing, and people said, that's cute, Ru, but when are you going to do, Stop Booty? When you going to do Cupcake? Where's Bianca Dinkin? And I thought, oh my goodness.
You want this.
This is what I should be doing. Major breakthrough. This is what and once I decided, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to take it to Glamazon. I'm going to do level 45. I'm going to take it as far as it can go with Glamorama. And I tell you, ancient doors opened to me. The universe opened to me. And I'll never forget it because in every venture I do, I have to look for that place where in my mind, I'm fixed and I have to be willing to open it up. I cannot go into a situation with a preconceived idea of what it should be. I have to be open to what that next big idea is.
Well, there's two things in that theory. The first one is you were able to see her because if you can't see it, you're not going to be able to do it, which is what we were talking about in the beginning of this conversation, is being able to see it when it's presented. And sometimes you're just not able to. Right. And the other thing is to be able to tell yourself consciously, I'm open to the universe. Please send it my way and let me receive it.
Oh, just by saying those words, it will happen.
Yes.
It's guaranteed it will happen.
Correct. But the kids have to know, the children have to know that in order to get there, it is a daily mantra and you have to feel it. Just saying it's not enough. It is a vibrational thing. Yeah. The universe knows when you're full of shit, and the universe knows when the real deal's right there. Yeah. So open yourself up, not just your legs, girl.
Yeah, well, it takes practice. It really does take. It's honestly, I still have to do it today.
We all do.
Absolutely, I have to catch myself and make sure I'm aligned with my greater self, because the temptation to go into my old self, it's that it's always there. That temptation is always there.
Agree. And I say it to my kids, and I might have said this before, but it's worth the risk of repeating. I always tell them, you can't set out in life thinking you need to be something that you don't want to be, or that somebody sees you as being. You have to be open. I never set out in this world to be a radio personality. I always loved radio, was a radio geek, like I said, but I never said I want to be a radio personality. But I was open to it when it presented itself. I went for it. I pushed to try to get in. And when I got there, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to be part of it. I didn't know what I was going to be part of, but I was going to be part of it. And I showed them that I can do what all these girls that have been trained doing it, been doing it for 20 years. I can do everything. And I did do everything because I was open to it. If you're not open to it, it will not happen. You have to see it and go, oh, well, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be the next Madonna. I wanted to be a movie star. That wasn't happening. But this is showing itself. If I would have said, screw you, radio, I'm not, please, you're beneath me. My 17 years of my life that was incredible wouldn't have happened. So it's a matter of being in tune and being able to open up to things that you didn't think you wanted to do.
Right.
That could end up being incredible.
I love that. And it's happened time and time again.
And it will continue to do so for everybody.
All right, let's take a break here. And when we come back, we've got some other really juicy stuff.
Okay, great.
Coming
Love it.
up. Okay, now before we speak with Miss Tamar Braxton, I want to talk about Squarespace. Now, we've received so many great emails at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com about your Squarespace websites. I love it. Keep them coming. Now, this one is from a kid over at the University of Southern California. It says, "Hey, Ru, my name is Alden Dirk. I'm studying screenwriting at the University of Southern California, and I started a website using Squarespace after hearing about it on your podcast. I've been using the site to publish my collection of humorous essays. It was so easy to make, looks amazing, and has a bunch of great features like domain names and subscriptions that make it easy for my loyal fans, aka friends and family, to follow my writing." Now, it says here, "I love the podcast and thanks for the recommendation. Best, Alden." I love that. Now, Alden's website is backwashessays.com. Alden's site is perfect for him. It looks clean. It gives his fans the abilities to subscribe, so they'll be notified whenever he releases a new essay. Has a contact form and even has a button for his fans to donate to him. I think it's fantastic. Now, if you guys want to try out squarespace.com, get a free trial with no credit card required just by going to squarespace.com. Now, when you're blown away and you're ready to confirm a plan, use the offer code RU to get 10% off. You'll be getting a great deal and helping keep What's the Tea free. Thanks again to Squarespace, and keep sending your websites to RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU. Hey, we have our special guest here, Tamar Braxton.
Hello.
Now, you came with a whole camera crew because you got a new TV show.
Well, no, I'm shooting Tamar Vin season 3, actually.
Oh, I see. I thought you were on the Real Talk or something.
Yeah, it's called The Real.
The
Talk
Real.
Show. Yeah.
So you got Braxton Family Values.
Yes.
Tamar and Vince.
Yes.
And then the Real Talk.
And I'm also, I just got picked up for another show that I started. It's called Glam Slam. And it's about me and my glam. And we're talking about like fashion and hair and everything everybody likes. Yeah.
You know, the theme of this show has been personal breakthroughs, professional breakthroughs. Tell me about your breakthroughs, because you are on fire right now. You are just on fire. And, you know, in the first season of Family Values, you were anxious and frustrated because there wasn't a breakthrough. Well, that breakthrough has happened.
Yeah.
Tell me about how it happened and what the effect it's had on you.
Well, you know, I think, to be very candid and honest, my breakthrough came when I became very comfortable with myself and accepted myself for who I was. Because the first season of the Braxtons, you know, it used to come on Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays I would be in my bed, depressed, sad, like, oh
because
my
what?
God.
Because you didn't like the way you looked?
I couldn't accept who that girl was, but it was me, you know? And I didn't know that was a big part of me stepping into my womanhood, you know? And because I've always been perceived as and felt like a little sister of a superstar and a little sister of a big, huge family.
That's not easy.
No, it's not. And and part of that frustration that you guys saw in the first season was trying to find my identity, and I couldn't find it because I wasn't comfortable with it. So after that first season, I realized that there's some things that I want to change, and I did change those things, and I have to accept myself for who I am, and then that's it. And that's actually when everything started to fall into place.
Do you still watch the show?
I do.
You do?
Every
You watch
episode.
every episode?
Yeah.
And are there things you still cringe over?
Yes, God. Oh my God.
I think a woman,
like
that's
this
just what
season
we
to
do.
come. Oh, keep me on that prayer list. Keep me at the top. Okay. Fast for me. Whew. But it's just real life.
Yeah.
Everybody's life is different, and this is the first time that my sisters and I are all mothers. So we all are trying to find our position and our sisterhood and friendship. So that is the battle. This season.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's deep.
I love it. It's interesting. Were there any sort of signs that were indicating that this was going to be your time?
No.
There wasn't any.
No. I was just being honest.
Yeah, but I think she said the magical thing, what we were talking about earlier, which is
What?
when she was open to it, because she let it go
Yeah.
and accepted what was,
Right.
that's when she was able to receive it.
Absolutely. That's a big part. And until you realize that, it seems like you are like caught in a web. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once you realize it, it's just like you break free. It's the weirdest thing ever.
It is the weirdest thing, and until it happens to you, there's no way of telling someone how to do it.
Right.
Because I guess it's different for everybody, because everybody has their own sort of shackles. What do you think your shackles were that kept you from it for so long?
Being insecure about whether I was good enough to be a singer, whether anybody was going to take me seriously, as a producer, or just anything I was doing, only because my sister was who she was for a long time and still is to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so just being in that shadow, and that could make anybody insecure.
Sure,
Like, when you
yeah.
have a sister that dope and iconic.
Yeah.
Did you
it's
feel like everybody was always
difficult.
comparing you to Tony?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
still do. But it's all good now
I was
because
gonna say,
I
I
know
don't
who
know.
I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I
it
think you
doesn't
got your
bother
own
me.
now.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've got all these TV shows going, this fabulous album. I'm sure you're working on the
Thank you. I
follow-up
am.
album, which I love that album. It is
you.
really, really good. And I'm not just saying, and that's true.
Thank you,
it's
darling.
really good. And what is the next phase for you? How are you gonna keep transforming?
Well, the only thing that's ever worked for me is being myself, and I feel like I am a new Tamar because now I'm a mother, and that comes first before anything else.
Yeah.
Logan and how he is and his environment is number one to me. Once I know that's cool and safe, okay, now I can move. So now that the talk show is giving me kind of a sense of normalcy because I'm going to be home a lot, which at the beginning I wasn't, and so now I'm going to be home during the week, and I do my shows on the weekend.
Here in Los
LA,
Angeles?
yeah.
So you got to fly back and forth, back and forth?
Yeah, but that's cool because that's just the weekend.
Yeah, true,
and
true.
I'll come back and I can still, do my shows and stuff, and it's all good.
Yeah. Do you guys live out here also?
We do. Yeah.
Where do you like it best?
Atlanta is home, and that's where my mom lives.
Yeah.
So, you go there to kind of refuel,
Yeah.
and then you come back to LA, and then you work, and it's great here.
Yeah.
And then you go back home and do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you guys are from South Carolina? Is
No,
that
we're
right?
actually from Maryland, DMV area, originally. But then my parents got divorced. My mom moved to Atlanta, so that became home for us when I was about 17 and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you go to high school in Atlanta?
No, I graduated in Maryland.
Well, she spent, 17 and a half, spent most of your life in Maryland.
I did, but it wasn't cool. Because
you
I
don't
was
have a
bullied
Maryland
lot.
accent.
No, I don't. Isn't that good?
It's real
Won't he
good.
do it?
I do love that Baltimore
Me
accident
too.
that's in.
I'm going
One.
downtown with a hot dog. Just that. With a half and half.
Were you guys anywhere near Baltimore?
Sort of. We were in Anne Arundel County, which is like by the BWI airport. So
Right.
it's like in between.
Did you ever see that HBO series called The Corner?
No.
It's got Candy Alexander in it.
yes.
She should have. I think she may have won an Emmy. It was amazing.
Really?
It was called The Corner. I can't remember who the male lead in it was, but she tore that up.
Really?
Yes, it was all about Baltimore and everything. So the album. You writing a lot of the songs on the album, producing.
Well, yes, I do a lot of my vocal producing because I am a songwriter.
Yes.
So therefore, it has to come out the way that I hear it in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You're a singer, you get it.
Yeah,
you know what I
absolutely,
mean?
yeah.
So it's like that, and it's coming along really, really.
Really,
great.
when do you think it's going to come out?
Well, I think the single's coming out like the next couple weeks.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Any big producers that you're working with on this?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm working with Dream.
Oh, great.
And Tricky. And I've been knowing Tricky was actually my first boyfriend.
Really?
Yes.
How did that work?
Well, you
Is
know.
that weird working with him now?
Not now. You
It's
know,
all right?
because I've been knowing him so long. You know, he's married now with kids, and I'm married with a baby. And so I don't even know how we
But
was
still,
interested
when
in
the
each other.
heat's there once.
No, girl.
Okay.
No, child.
Because my
That heat
vagina's
where it
heat
is.
seeking.
Oh,
Like, when I
okay,
was there
all right.
once, I'd be like, well, I
Are you a
remember
single
that.
mama?
No, I've been married for 17
married.
years. But even so, if I had that heat with someone at some point, for me, it's always there.
It was more like a, you know, like a warm blanket. It wasn't that.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're not going to give him that.
And
All
this
right.
is in Atlanta.
No, they're here actually. Which is crazy because everyone in Atlanta came to LA.
Yeah. It's just so funny in one's life. You know, the people who you have no idea that they're going to be throughout your life. Some people disappear, never see them again.
I know.
Never see them. It's just so weird like that. You
It
know?
is.
I love it. I love it. Love the last album. Do you have a title for the new album?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. You know, it's like the beginning, early writing stages, but you kind of sure of what direction you want to go into.
Right,
So it's
right.
that, and it's really cool.
Is it a continuation? Because the last one was
Yeah.
Love and War, right? And so, what comes after Love and War? Peace and
Peace.
tranquility.
Yeah.
Yes, honey, the next level of it, you know, because I have to write about things that I'm actually going
Right.
through
Yeah.
or have been through and I can't kind of escape from, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
So this is like, Vince and our relationship is kind of went for a turn after Logan was born. I mean, for the better, but you know, it's different now, you know, because we always said we didn't want kids and then we had a baby and now we're like, what happened was our relationship. So, you know, I have to write about things like that.
Right.
Trying to kind of keep the
Are you
spice.
loving being a mommy?
I love.
Isn't it the best?
I mean, cause that's only because I have a good baby.
Yeah.
And the baby is nothing like me. He's not
Preach.
dramatic. He's just like Vince, real cool, laid back.
Wait till you have your
Thank
girl.
God.
And then you
Wait
call
till
me.
who?
Right.
I'm the girl.
No. Yeah, that'll go right out the window.
I can't do the lickety split again. I'm done.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! So,
Really?
So
God,
the
no.
whole theme of this podcast is really about personal breakthroughs, emotional breakthroughs. So you know, obviously, we've all witnessed your professional breakthrough.
Yeah.
What about personal breakthroughs? You know, is there a time? You know, life goes in these sevens, like 7, 14, 21, 28, and so on and so forth.
And then that's where the math ends.
And that's where my math ends exactly.
You're 29 and holding.
Yes, yes. So, can you tell me about some personal, emotional breakthroughs that you've gone through that you could share with people that might help them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, child, because you know I was bullied a lot.
Really?
Were you
As a
in
kid?
Maryland?
Yes, in Maryland. Yes, it was awful for me.
Why?
Well, because
Not why was it awful? Why were you bullied?
Well, I think it's two reasons. Number one, my personality. I've always had this big personality. But the second part of it is the personality on top of, we come from a small town, and here is Toni Braxton all of a sudden, pow, this boom, big icon, and they couldn't really understand it. And so it was like,
so it's jealousy.
sort of. But in a bullying kind of way. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, you think you all that because your sister won a couple Grammys last night. You ain't this, you not that. And then it would end up being a fight because it would become physical and be like 6-on-1.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, and it was
That's crazy.
terrible for me. So,
So what'd you do about it?
well,
What'd Mama do about it? What'd you?
I left and went on the road, and I started singing background. And then I came back, and then I couldn't go to the school. Obviously, that was really bad. And I went to another school that definitely it was more like a scholar school, and they definitely didn't understand the art. arts, and I was definitely into the arts. So they didn't understand that I didn't want to go to Notre Dame. I didn't want to go to no Ivy League school. That was not what I was into, because they didn't have Superstar 101, and so therefore I was not interested. It's the truth.
Yeah.
And they used to say that I would end up working at McDonald's, which is the craziest thing ever. Not no go pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
Be whoever you want to be, or you can be whoever you want to be. And ever since then, and that's why I was so frustrated again too, because I felt like I failed myself. Because my career didn't happen for me till I was like 31 years old.
Right.
So I'm 37 now. So it's
But by the way, that is the natural time.
Yeah.
Usually that's when you're settled enough in your own self. That is the natural time for it to happen. And you don't
Healthiest,
think
too.
The healthiest. Thank God
really,
it
but
didn't
I had a
happen
big
earlier.
problem because all of my friends, I would hang out with people and all of my friends would blow up.
Right,
And I
right.
would still be.
Because it wasn't your time.
And I would still be, but it's hard to understand.
Of
Yes.
When every time you start hanging out with somebody, you get really close to somebody, and all of a sudden they become a major superstar.
Right.
Like, what train did I miss?
Yes.
Right.
That's a lot.
And that's the first place we go to. And you've heard me say that all the time. It's go like, where did I go wrong? What am I not doing that she's getting that? And she don't got half the talent that I got.
Yeah.
But honestly, my turning point was my husband, because he became my friend, and I never had a friend, like a real friend. Like I had boyfriends who really didn't care that much about you,
Right.
whatever. But Vince was my friend, and that's why we work together. That's why we can work together now, because I used to feel bad and just be in a negative space all the time because I didn't understand why things wasn't happening for me, and I was still carrying a lot of baggage from high school, and then I was in an abusive relationship. Honey, it's the trickle down effect,
Right.
And then he taught me. He was a person who really taught me to look at things in a positive way.
How did y'all meet?
Well, it's so funny. We first met actually Thanksgiving through Toni, because he did a song on her first album.
Okay.
It's called How Many Ways. I don't know if y'all remember that
Oh
song.
yeah, I love
he
that
did
song. Yes.
And
He produced it or wrote it?
both.
Oh.
Yeah. So then I met him again when I had this record deal. I was signed to Tommy Mottola for like 5 minutes.
Right.
And I met him, and I was going to do background for Toni, and he was doing A&R for her record. And he was like, oh, let's just go to the movie. And I was like, no, I'm okay.
So you didn't feel nothing at that point?
I didn't
It was
feel
just
nothing.
Okay.
I had a boyfriend too. I was, crazy. Just crazy. It's crazy. Head over heels for it. Anyway. I got stomped on that one. Let me go back.
Sit down.
Let me go back. So then he was doing another Toni record I was singing background for. And we just started talking one day. And then we just found out we had a lot of things in common. And
I
then he
love that.
became my best friend.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Until I found out he had a girlfriend. Then I had to have him for myself.
Ain't that the truth?
Isn't it always?
You want what you can't have.
So now to back up, so you were having these issues at that school in Maryland, and how did you overcome that? Like, what was it? Just leaving that space? Was that the thing? Was that the solution?
Because it's not always the answer.
No, it's not always the answer, but it helped me because I got to see the world, and I got to see my dream that in my head as a little girl, because at first, before Toni Braxton, I wanted to be a singer. I saw Star Search and was gone. Okay, it's true. So when I got a chance to go on the road with her at an early age, I saw that was a real goal. So when I came back, it was real to me, and it was nothing that nobody could tell me. So, by then I was already sold and done.
Right.
Yeah.
And earlier you said that you felt like when other people were, they caught their train, and they was like, what train am I missing?
Right.
Why were you missing the train? What was it? Was it just the timing wasn't right, or was there something that you were not doing or that you needed to do to make that happen?
I was standing in my own way.
How?
Well, number one, like I said, I would look at things from a negative perspective, like why isn't this happening for me? Or approaching things in a negative way instead of like having honey and sunshine in my mouth. It'd be rah, 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 like a dungeon dragon, and nobody wants to deal with that. That's not cool. And so, I was definitely angry about a lot of things, so I had to deal with those issues with myself first. And then things started to happen.
Right. Talk about personal breakthrough.
Yes,
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
It is great. It's great to watch you blossom into this amazing, not only just entertainer, but entrepreneur and mother, and you just rock on. I love stories like this because it just goes to show you that there's always a rebirth that's waiting for everybody. And
Definitely.
everybody, it's the story of the hero with 1,000 faces. It's the story of Krishna. It's the story of Buddha and Jesus Christ, where you become the potential that you are is always lying in wait.
Yeah.
And you are a living example of that.
Thank you. Well, you know, it's all about, and I say this all the time, and on every show that I have, you can't give up on yourself. You always have to believe in yourself, but you always have to do your part and work hard.
Preach.
Yes, they say faith without works is
dead,
nothing. That's
honey.
right. That's
Who
right.
wants to
It
be
ain't
dead
nothing.
with a dead face? Not I, except the duck.
Thank you, baby. Thank you, Tamar Braxton,
Thank you,
for
guys.
being on our podcast and inspiring our audience.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having
Of
me.
course.
Now, you know, on RuPaul's Drag Race, we watch these kids come from all over and we challenge them to be their higher self. Talk about personal breakthroughs and triumphs and breakdowns. I'll never forget that time Yara Sophia.
It's like Sophia Petrillo. Picture it.
Yeah.
RuPaul's Drag Race, 1924.
Exactly. She's in the middle of a lip sync with
Alexis Mateo.
Yes, and in the midst of the lip sync, she literally breaks down. Now, what people don't understand too is that we film every day, 15-hour days. And these kids are not, you and I are used to it, but these kids are not used to that kind of work.
I do want to say it also makes for good TV because their nerves are so raw and so fried that this, just like when you go to therapy, intensive therapy, and you go for like a 2-week thing where you're in therapy every day, you have to push to make that breakthrough.
Yes.
And that's what happens.
It is what happens because it's like I've said it time and time again, your old self dies to your new improved self, to your evolved self.
Enlightened. Yeah.
And it's you know the ego doesn't want to do that because the ego it spells the death of the ego and the so watching this happen, and it happens throughout your life. It's not just a one-shot deal and you're cooked.
No, it's not like, oh, my mommy issue's done. Next,
Yeah. No, you have to manage it like a garden,
And you should welcome it.
You should welcome it because all the things that you've asked for, all the prayers and that's how it comes into your life. Is that it? Like a snake, you have to shed the skin of the old self.
And it's a beautiful thing when you guys do. I promise. And I haven't even begun to shed my skin. I've done work on myself, and I've got so far to go.
Oh, please, Miss Think. I've seen you evolve. You've totally. Obviously, it's like I've heard the analogy that like when you plant a tree in the backyard. And you watch it every day, it doesn't seem like it's growing. But if for the people who go away and come back, you're like, oh my goodness, look how big that tree has gotten.
Of course.
Same thing. And I've seen you grow so much.
And I've seen you grow. And the kids out there might think, oh, it's not. I'm not growing. You are growing.
Yeah.
Give into it.
Yeah. Well, but in terms of the show, inevitably, if you can stick around long enough, and the challenges don't, eliminate you from the competition, what comes and what evolves is really brilliant. But then there's that other thing where we've seen some of the girls who become famous.
Oh, girl.
And
then there's that other.
Then there's that.
That double-edged sword. So they've made their breakthrough and they're the superstar now. But then they become the monster.
Yeah.
The superstar monster, who then in turn shuts down all that work that they've done to get to that point. So it's a very double-edged sword.
Well, fame is a lot like booze. Sometimes when a person gets drunk, they're either a happy drunk or you're a mean drunk. Some people, when they get famous, become nasty. Some people are cool with it,
It really behooves you in the long run for longevity to be humble. Humility is such a tough thing, but it's such a beautiful thing to kind of stay the path and not change and be who you've always been.
I always wonder about the people who are, a-holes who maintain a career for years. And
How do they?
I don't know.
Do you think they're so surrounded by people that it's like bumper cars? They don't ever get to the people?
I wish I had an answer for you because I've seen them and they sustain careers. But then, in my experience, there's a handful of people in this business that I see, and I see them everywhere. And I think, and I'm a sweetheart to work with. I'm on time and I show up and I'm good.
Super strong work ethic.
Yes. But, and I get hired again because when I'm hiring someone, I think, well, we're going to spend 5 weeks together. Who do you want to?
Absolutely.
Who do you want to work with?
Yes.
Because a lot of people can do the job.
Well, you and I were talking about Elaine Stritch and what a horrible experience everybody had working with one of my icons. And I'm so glad I never met her because of that reason. But there's somebody like Elaine Stritch, there's some people who can only deliver. Elaine Stritch is the only one who could deliver what she does.
Right.
And
Right.
sometimes there's a trade-off for the people that deliver what it is that they do.
Sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that a lot of people are going, all right, damn it, I hate this person.
Mm-hmm.
They're a nightmare to work with. Who's going to do the job best?
Right.
That person.
Yeah, yeah.
So they just suffer for the art.
Yeah, bite the bullet.
But there are those people that do that, and the children out there that are listening, you're miserable when you're in that because you're in it alone. Nobody's going to want to be with you. Nobody's going to want to rehire you. Nobody's going to want to spend time with you. And then you're going to end up alone. And then what? You're going to have to do the work anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well do it now and remain humble and move forward and progress from there. But we're talking about the girls on the show.
Yeah.
And when they do have those breakthroughs, Jada was just one of them.
Yeah.
We saw.
Well, that was a breakdown. That was a breakdown.
That was a breakdown. Did
Yeah.
she break through?
Did she break through? She was eliminated on that show.
Because breakdowns and breakthroughs are different.
Well, but they're different, but somehow through the breakdown, you can stand up and emerge.
But she came back for All Stars.
She came back for All Stars, and she's a very successful nightclub performer. She tours, she does the whole thing. She lives out here in LA.
She's
now.
actually fun to work with.
Yeah.
She's one I can say that I enjoy being with.
That's right. You've worked with all of the
I
girls
have
on
worked
the
with
road.
all of them, and
Yeah.
they're I'm going to say 98% of them are fantastic to work with, and I'd work with them again in an instant.
Yeah.
And there's some that just need to be bitch slapped, and then they'll come back to earth because they don't realize that what they're doing is not that serious.
Right.
And they take it like they're curing cancer.
Yeah.
And it's not that serious.
Well, I early on I learned. My 10th grade teacher said, "Rue, don't take life too seriously."
Well, your 10th grade teacher is very wise.
Yes. I don't know. And honestly, there's nothing you can say to these kids who come on the show that would help. Everybody does it in their own time. There's nothing you could say that can help prevent or circumvent any danger dead ahead.
No.
They have to go through it.
Yes.
To do their thing.
They do. And we love when they come out the other side all smiley and roses and clear. Like you could actually see the clarity in their eyes. It happened with Alaska. It happened
Yes.
with Coco. It happened with Trinity. Those moments of, we see it. We see your face.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I love it. Because you want to get in there and say, no, honey, just do this. Remember that time I was talking to Jiggly Caliente? I think it was about...
Comedy.
It was about comedy.
Yeah.
She says, no, I don't want to do this thing like this. I think I need to do it like this. I had to respect her call on this, even though I came this close to just saying, shaking her and saying, girl, do this. You need to do this.
And then she said to us in judging, she said, what are you going to do? I'm fat. Sit there and talk about eating chicken? And we go, yes!
That would have been funny.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But
they think too much.
yeah. Well, she got eliminated for
She
that
did
one, didn't
get
she?
eliminated
Yes.
because it was torturous.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys have taken something from this whole personal breakthrough dialogue we've been having. Personal breakthrough, personal breakdown. They're almost two sides of the same coin.
They are. You have to get one to get to the other, usually.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a breakthrough without having a breakdown, maybe. But most of the time, you have to go through all these processes of getting off all these layers of dead skin to get to that. So I can almost guarantee there's more than one breakdown involved in a breakthrough.
I tell you, when I was out here in LA when I was 28, I think I told this story on the podcast before, but I was at the end of my rope.
The first time you came out?
I turned 28 out here in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I was living in New York. I was living in Atlanta. I'd been doing my thing there. I thought, okay, now I need to move to New York. I need to move to LA. Sleeping on my sister's couch.
Yeah, I didn't know you then.
Oh, it was just awful. I was at the end of my rope. And
by the end of the rope, you mean about to give up on
everything.
Okay.
Give up on everything. And I relied on a friend, Larry T, to say, you know what, bitch, I'll pay for your ticket. You get back to New York, and you'll pay me back in a week after doing some go-go gigs, which I did, and stop your lollygag and stop all that business and come back here. And that's what I did.
Get out of your pool of worry, wallowing in your misery, right?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. But, it was important that I did that.
It was important that you listened to your friend.
You know what? Was that Tiffany's song? It always gets me. I don't know the song.
It's called I Think We're Alone Now.
No.
Oh.
It's called...
She had another one?
She had an album called... I always add a word, but it's Hold an Old Friend's Hand.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
But I think I always call it
Hold
hold on to an old friend's hand,
But
or
it's just
something like that.
Don't matter.
Yeah. But relying on people to say, who know you, to say, you know what? Snap out of it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And
Absolutely. I live by it. When I told, and these kids have heard me say it, and I'll say it 20 more times as long as this podcast goes. When I'm really confused and down and can't find a way out, I always call you because sometimes the people that know you best are the ones that can give you the clarity because you're not going to see it. It's just like being in an abusive relationship. You're not going to see it when you're in it, or you're choosing not to see it rather when you're in it. It takes somebody that knows you to go, what are you doing? What are you doing, girl?
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that friend who knows you so well to call you out on your shit.
You're absolutely right. And the same is true for bad influences. Get away from them. I love when Judge Judy says, if there's a rotten blueberry in the pack, eventually all of the blueberry will get rotten.
What? All the what?
They will all become rotten because of
that one
association.
rotten.
So you've got to get away.
Yeah.
That goes for family people too.
And it's easier said than done. And I am the person who I like to have everything tied up in pretty bows. So if it is family, look, I lost my mother. She was 56 years old, way too young to die.
Oh, wow.
Way too young to die. So for me, now that I'm 45 and I'm aging, I go, you can't even imagine how young that is to die. Right. And then I know friends who aren't talking to their mothers, who aren't talking to their sisters. It kills me. And I say, try. You don't have to be friends, but try to tie up those little packages and put a bow on them because they won't be here one day. And you'll never be able to do that. And some people are not able to do that. But I hope that people can. And maybe that'll be a source of a breakthrough for some people.
It is.
Just like you did with your daddy.
Sure, absolutely. I did. I made peace with my father, but that didn't mean we were going to be going on vacations together.
And that's fine, but you made peace with him. You weren't going to go on a fishing trip.
No.
You weren't going to be Opie and Andy Griffith.
No, we weren't going to go to and be girlfriends on Rodeo Drive.
And that's never going to happen.
We weren't going to braid each other's hair.
You weren't going to paint each other's claws.
No, none of that.
No, but it did... In my head, looking at you and knowing what you'd been through, what it did was bring a nice, peaceful end to his journey.
Yeah.
Because it could have been, you would have been left untethered. I don't know. I like it better when people at least say what they feel.
Right.
That person may not want to hear it. That person may not ever talk to them again. Yeah. Say what you want to say to that person because that person's not always going to be here.
Well, I've got to say, though, too, that a lot of the work I did with my father was done with, was done without him. I read this book.
No, it's yourself. You got to do it.
Absolutely. I read this book called Toxic Parents by Dr. Susan Forward. I'm wondering if it's a book that's available on Audible, but Dr. Susan Forward, Toxic Parents. And it goes through this process of freeing yourself of old identities you've had with your parents and relationships. And by the way, the parent doesn't have to be there. The parent doesn't even have to be alive,
Of course.
So it was very important. And if you've never read that book, I think it's a very important book.
I'm going to read it now because I am a parent and I don't want to be that toxic parent. And it is available on Audible.
Oh, good. Oh,
so
excellent.
People can listen to it while they drive.
Yeah.
And it's important because a lot of us, the old joke is always, stop blaming your parents or you're messed up. It's your parents' fault. And really, it is. But it's up to us to stop the cycle.
Right.
It's up to us to forgive them because they're doing what they know from their parents. So it's, to quote Susan Powder, stop the madness. Now is the time. Yeah. So I like that. I love book suggestions. I love all those things because they really help people.
Well, that book really helped a lot. I'd broken up with someone. It seems like it's always a breakup, that sort of.
Because that puts us in that mindset.
It puts us in that place, that vulnerable love.
Woe is me.
Yes. And I got a lot of work done. Talk about a breakdown. I was really broken down for that one. And then it really forced me because I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was in a place where I couldn't go any further unless I dealt with this. I remember my first boyfriend, I was behaving in a way that I was like, where did this come from? And then I realized this is just like my parents.
Isn't it weird when you can actually come out of your body and look in on yourself and go, who is this person? I don't even know where this behavior is coming from because this is not me. Whenever I've done that, it always amazes me. And it snaps me out of it where I go, oh my God, this is not you.
Yeah.
So all you people out there who know that you're not being true to yourself, snap out of it. Give yourself that opportunity to be who you really are. You know, Tamar was talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's about acceptance and love and being who you really are. Don't change for nobody. You know, be true to who you are. It's a big message to all the kids out there who think they need to fit in, who think they need to be a certain way for people to love them or for parents to love them. You are who you are, kiddo.
Well, but you know, it's having said that, then it goes back to the old adage, you know thyself. And if you don't know thyself, you better get to know thyself.
Is that the old adage?
Yes.
To thine own self be true.
Yes, all of the, you know, none of this stuff is new. It's all the same stuff. But what's interesting is how all of the knowledge that is there to help us, somehow we just easily forget it, you know. It's not new.
We easily forget it because it's selective memory. And, you know, we have to do what makes us feel good at the moment. It's like when we reach for that pint of Ben and Jerry's when we're sad. You know, we reach for the ice cream because that's making us feel good in that moment. So it's all selective. But it's up to you. I think what we learned and the moral of this whole podcast today was that it's up to us to make our breakthroughs. It's okay to have a breakdown to get to the breakthrough. And the other side of the breakthrough, you know, lies the rainbow for the moment. So it's worth all of the work you're going to put into it, but nobody can do the work but you.
Right.
Is that true? Is that fair to say?
I think it's absolutely fair to say, and I think that you just stay tuned, and it will happen. Nobody gets out of this thing alive.
No, it's true.
Nobody. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So just prepare yourself.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that was fun podcast
That was
today.
fun. That was fun. I loved hearing these stories, and I loved even learning more about you, Mama, Miss Kitty Girl.
And same here, kitty girl. It's always fun because though we spend so much time together and have spent so many years together, when you learn something new, it's just an added kind of, there's another layer of what I love about you, you know, and I love that.
All right, Kitty Girl. Well, until next time, bye.
Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.